And how about we start all of the phone calls this weekend with Tracy in Pasadena, California. Hi there, Tracy.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for your call today. What's going on?
Great. My question for you is, where can I get an impartial, independent source to read the black box in my automobile? And specifically to decode the event recorder related to an automobile accident.
So what happened?
I was in an accident with my upscale European SUV that has 4, maybe 5 crash avoidance systems in it. And I had a frontal impact, and there was none of the systems alerted me either visually or audibly.
So this crash was about to happen and you had no warning signs come up with the car?
Exactly, not one. So I want to know, and trying to understand when I can and cannot depend on all of my crash avoidance systems that I opted for.
Well, sure. Yeah.
I called to get a better understanding, and they just basically said, read your book.
Thank
and
you.
we don't have any of that information. And then he wouldn't give me his last name.
Oh, well, that's always handy, isn't it? Love that. Customer service. Way to go. Love that.
So that put my little red flag up, and I don't want to take it to the dealership to find out this information or to get it checked, because that's like letting the wolf guard the hen house.
Well, you know, I did some research about electronic data recorders, or sometimes they're called crash data recorders, whatever you want to call it. Actually wrote a USA Today column about this back in 2014. And as I was updating it and I was looking at the column over the last couple of weeks, and it's interesting that you should call, is that there really hasn't been a lot of movement. But let me back up just a second, because when I was looking for research to update this column, I was actually in conversation with a friend of mine by the name of Michelle. And Michelle is very smart. And she has I guess, a 22-year-old that's in medical school. And she's got 3 kids now under the age of 9. So a couple of 9-year-olds, a couple of 5-year-olds. Anyway, she had no idea that cars even had an EDR, which I was surprised to know that, that I just thought that, I just assumed that everybody knew that whatever you're doing in the car is automatically being recorded in this computer. And it records everything, your speed, how often you brake, whether you have your seatbelts on, it's all in there. Because if you think about it, your Volvo, Mercedes, Ford, whatever it may be, is that it's really based upon computer technology now. So inside cars, almost all of them since 2014, 96% was the number, and they all have these EDRs. Now, there's only some 15 states that actually say that you have the right to actually look at the information in the EDR in your car. Isn't that astounding? I mean, only 15 states. Anyway, California is one of the states. So in order for you to see what's in there, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can go buy $20,000 worth of equipment, and then you'd have to have the knowledge base and the training in order to decipher exactly what it says. Alternatively, you could hire what's called an auto crash reconstruction specialist. And you'll be able to find them in Pasadena, in California. And so that this way, they could be the third party that would go in there, and they might charge you a couple of $1,000s, but they could go in there and actually read that data for you.
Okay. And where did you say that I could find that?
If you Google auto crash reconstruction specialist, and type in California, your zip code. You've seen all the commercials with the lawyers that are saying, if you're in a crash, call us first. Okay,
right. These
are the guys that the lawyers hire in order to see exactly what's going on. But what's interesting is that if you wanted to block anybody from actually seeing the data in there, what you have to do is you have to buy another gadget to block that. But that's not, you're not calling about that, just as a side note. But so so Google that, and there is a website that I can point you into is crashdataservices.net. That's crashdataservices.net. Don't worry about writing it down, because I hate giving out web addresses here on the show because it gets so confusing, because it's like 6 degrees of separation from any porn site. So if you go to komando.com, komando.com, and if you're a new listener to the show, you'll hear me say, just go to the show picks button. And what that means is that I'm going to give you the direct link for more information right there on our homepage, so you don't have to Google it and then end up with a bad site or malware or even something worse. So head over to komando.com, komando.com, and once you're there, hit that show picks button. I'll put a link where you can actually find somebody who can decipher what's in that EDR.